Hello everyone, this is Calvin Russell, CEO and founder of 850 Club Credit Consultation. Hope everyone's doing well today. Today we're going to talk about how you can achieve a 700 credit score and beyond, even if you have recent late payments. Let's go into a few ways this is possible. All right. So way number one, the most common way is going to be essentially continuing to get on-time payments right after you have late payments. The problem is that people, number one, have to understand what a late payment truly is. A late payment is essentially when something is due, let's say on the 1st, and then, for example, you pay on the 3rd, the 5th, the 28th, right? That's considered a late payment. Now, depending on the creditor, they more than likely have a grace period. Usually that grace period is anywhere between 3 to 14 days. Every creditor is going to be different, all right? Now, just because you have to pay a late fee and because you're late on that bill does not mean they're going to report that to the credit bureaus. Credit bureaus are only interested in 30-day late payments. The problem is that a lot of people will have a 30-day late payment and then they'll make a payment, but then that only took care of the 30-day late payment. But you now have the new payment that's due, and that one has a clock as well too. Okay, so number one, you got to understand how late payments work, and it's not the end of the world. Yes, it is the largest percentage of what makes your credit score. 35% of what makes your credit score comes from payment history, but it's not the end of the world. Based on my math, usually 3 on-time payments is worth 1 late payment. So can you get into the 700s after having a late payment? Absolutely. It's just going to take a couple of months, of having on-time payments. So number 2, strongly consider, putting your bills on auto pay. Okay. And then even if you can't do auto pay, try to make payments throughout the week. So make a weekly payment. Most bills are usually due once a month, right? But if you make the payments every single week or every 2 weeks when you get paid, it'll make the process a lot easier. Number 3, considering refinancing whatever it is that you're late on. In most cases, it's usually the bigger ticket items like an auto loan or a personal loan. See if your score is high enough to refinance that or to try to restructure it with a different bank. Most banks are now starting to go into the soft pull, process. That way you can see what the payments will be, what the terms will be without making a full commitment. Okay. But again, all you have to do is just have on-time payments along the way. Now, another process is a goodwill letter where you've had the late payment. And by the way, you can grab this goodwill letter for free at the 850club.com/goodwill, and then just send that to the creditor. And when you send that to the creditor, there's no guarantee that they're going to honor and remove that late payment, but it's a nice gesture. Okay. Then of course you have the next disputing option, which is simply disputing that and trying to get that removed. But then even if you get it removed, depending on how many late payments you have, that every bureau may be a little bit different. Okay. And so again, you just want to make sure that you understand that it's not the end of the world. You can go ahead and then get those on-time payments going again, and your score bounce right back just like that. Don't forget, you still have other methods as well too. When you have accounts that are there, the more accounts you have on your credit report that have positive history, that's what's going to accelerate that process. You can also be added on to someone's credit card as an authorized user, using their positive payment history to go against your negative recent payment history. Okay. But if you don't have those options, it's perfectly fine. Just make your payments on time. Consider auto pay. Consider putting bills that have to come out of a certain account on time. You'd be surprised how many points people lose from missing a $15 payment, a $30 payment, a $50 payment. And I get it. Some of us as Americans, we are struggling, but at the same time, this may be a budget situation. Some people think they have a credit situation, but really it's an income situation. They're not having enough income coming in to combat with the expenses that they have, and they've already reduced their expenses to a certain point. Well, it's like, man, I gotta have some type of lifestyle. But if you're struggling and things are not at a certain point, it may be time to reconsider, how much income is coming in. It may be time to get a second job, create a side hustle, or quit the job overall, start fresh. It's absolutely nothing wrong with this. As adults, This is our adult report card, the credit report. And so we got to be on top of it. We got to be responsible. We have to make sure things are in place, to avoid those late payments. But again, to get to 700, it doesn't take much. You need like maybe 4 to 5 or 6 accounts. And if you have recent late payments, that really depends on, obviously, if you had a lot of late payments recently on all 4 of the accounts or 5 of the accounts, whatever, you need to figure out a situation, because even if you wrote a dispute letter, or of course if you went with 850 and we took care of that for you, or if you used a goodwill letter, even if those late payments came off, you still got to pay the bills the next month. Don't forget, in real life, if you're past due, you're past due. You still got to catch that balance up. That's another situation. A lot of people will be past due, but they didn't pay the past due amount, and they're thinking that they're on time, but you're really still behind. And again, you have to make sure that this makes sense to you, and you have to look at, okay, is there enough money coming in? Was it something I forgot about? Can I afford this? Should I have made this decision? Should I call the bank and see what my options are, to lower the interest rate, to give the car back, or whatever the case may be that's best for you. But again, you can put those things in place. The fastest way, though, is again to just say, okay, you know what, this happened. Let me try to challenge this. Let me see if I need to hire someone to try to get this, this payment history a little bit better for me. But worst case scenario, just make on-time payments right after that. It'll bounce right back in 2 to 3 months. And the more accounts that you have, the better. But at the same time, 10%, don't forget this. 10% of your what makes your credit score is your average age of accounts. So as you keep adding new accounts, right? And it's almost like a catch-22 situation sometimes. But as you keep adding more accounts to your credit report, that's going to increase your chances to not only go to 700, but any score and beyond. One negative account should not completely deplete all of your positive points. But when you have multiple accounts and they're positive, it can happen. We have plenty of clients that have late payments from 2 months ago, a month ago, 5 months ago. But again, when they have those accounts on their credit report, it accelerates that process very quickly. Okay, so if you like this video, like it. You want to share it, and as always, be sure to subscribe, as we have nothing but great content on the way. Thank you all so much. Have a great day.